there is a phenomenon on the internet right now where single person businesses, like individuals, are hammering so much money. And we're talking really insane amounts because they found the value gap where you don't have to sell your time for money. So becoming so exceptionally good at sales at scale, like we're talking about selling at scale, and it's a skill, and very few people possess it. So people that participate in sales at this magnitude, they're typically copywriters, and they charge a lot of money when they're writing copy. But there are individuals out there that can write copy, distribute this copy on the internet through the spoken word, through a YouTube video like the one that you're watching right now, and then amass such a massive distribution of that said content that is in fact a sales pitch. So the longer you watch, the more you're sold and trusting of the person speaking to you. And it's crazy. It kind of dawned on me. I've done like 3,000 sales calls over the last 7-8 years. And when I started seeing my YouTube channel accumulating for 30 minutes of work, accumulating, let's say, 30 hours of watch time. It's not even crazy. My YouTube channel is like super tiny. I'm doing this for entertainment, for my own entertainment purposes. But what started happening is that people that were watching my videos got a lot of value out of it and just bought a course. And I was like, wait a second, I didn't premeditate this. I didn't think it through. I had just blasted out the camera and started recording and putting the video on YouTube straight from my iPhone. I just post this thing on a little stand, and the iPad's holding the tripod, and that's how I am recording this video. And I'm like, wait a second, this just happened. Let's think about the scale, right? So you write a script for the YouTube video. I'm not even writing a script. This is like all unfettered. And I just blast it out into the ether, and people actually want to watch it. And then after they finish watching, they see my sales page and they're like buying. My sales page was me rewriting somebody else's sales page. In all honesty, maybe I picked up a few tropes here and there from some other sales pages, but that's all it took. I knew that this copy worked. I knew how much money it made, rewrote it in my own voice, and boom, it worked. So I'm like, holy fuck, this is actually real, you know? And then once you see it, you start to connect the dots. Like, oh, this person saw me on Twitter. They came to my video from an email that they got from me, and they eventually clicked on a product page and they went and bought. I'm like, okay, so this is totally possible, right? And it happened like almost a year ago for the first time when it happened, to a point where I started thinking, all right, like the quality of your ideas and your entire online persona is a funnel, and you are the pitch. And once you start thinking in terms of positioning yourself as the authority on the internet, and I really don't like this position yourself as an authority, but it does work. People play status games and they fall into a status. The reason why they're watching you, like when you're creating content, is because you have something that they don't. That is the primary reason. Like, you have something that they don't. So that is how you can start leading people. And we're starting to realize that there's this spider web of different communities on the internet where people are making a lot of bank and they don't have traditional jobs. And for people that are conditioned in the dominant hierarchy of the archaic structures, where you are conditioned to trade time for money, it is very hard for you to reach the escape velocity, to stop thinking in those terms. Even when you become a business owner, it takes a long time. It took me 5 years, like to reach the level where I'm like, yeah, I'm really not getting paid to work, so like I shouldn't be doing any manual labor. To a point where if I'm catching myself doing something, and if it's not management or delegation or sales, like I'm like, hey, you're doing something wrong. Like I'm at the point in my business where I'm like putting everything on somebody else. But the fact that you don't need all these people, and there are people that prove that the model with you and just a VA is completely viable one. You don't have to have dozens of people like I do. It's not necessary anymore. Like you can create value for other people in other ways than through sheer labor. And that is a beautiful thing. People buy ideas, because these ideas, we don't know how they're helping them exactly, but we do. If you want to create a good digital product, you actually have to connect with your audience. You have to connect with your buyer and secure the transformation, document their transformation, and explain the steps, package that as a story, and sell it to someone else. That makes it an honest marketing. If you produce the transformation, like I have for Christian Gladwell, shout out to him if he ends up watching, where I got the guy, it's like one of the rare instances where I've done coaching, where I got the guy from $0 per month. He was a nurse, making $0 in business, $100,000 a year as a nurse, worked three nights a week, 12 hours a day. It's very exhausting. And I created his SEO agency with him, side by side, getting him to $25K per month. He's working his ass off for that money, but I was able to facilitate that as a transformation. Charge money for it. Like I never thought about selling something like that before, because I was focused on the agency side of things. Still I am. It's good money. I'm going to complain because I'm not doing the work. Because when you're not doing the work, you reach that escape velocity. So something to think about. Like you're not doing the work, but you're getting paid. The thing is, there's a whole cohort of the individuals, especially on YouTube, and there's a reason why they're predominantly on YouTube and not on the other networks. Because there is time under attention. Shout out to Dan Coe. He called the time under attention the first, and the phrase is fitting in perfectly, because the more time someone spends with you, the higher the propensity that they will buy from you, whatever it is that you're selling. Because sometimes people just want to buy from other people to get closer to them. They want their energy. They want to hear them speak more because it's meaningful to them. It happened to me way before I started creating content. It was random. Like my Twitter 2016 to 2019, exceptionally random, generated me probably about $200,000 from two people. One client for SEO for 100K, and the other client that pitched me to offer them coaching for another 100K. Like just two people. So it can help you redefine how small of a surface area do you need to really succeed. That's why a lot of people that are on a Dan Coe train and want to grow this massive brand, they don't understand that there's a whole life of 5 years between the moment you start and the moment you get there eventually, if you even want to get there. The size of the brand does not matter, because your message gets diluted the bigger you get. Like unless you have an ambition of building like a bigger world, you do not have to get a massive audience. You can run a real business and not a show business. It's a fair option. Not everyone wants to be the same. And this is why so many people that follow Dan Coe, they fail, because they fail to realize themselves. They get so sidetracked and lost in his content, trying to replicate his success from A to Z, and being struck in awe and not sitting to figure out how the game is played. And the game is played by you being you. And you opening yourself to the pattern recognition. You're not gonna win this social media game just going and hitting reply button to 100 accounts per day. Like that's not how you win. The replying doesn't make sense. You're building relationships. And if you're doing the relationships the right way, you don't have to hit 100 replies per day. It's a matter of inefficiency. You're learning. If you're positioning as I'm going to do 100 replies, 200 replies per day, if you want to learn, yeah, sure, be my guest. But I've seen people, like just today in my feed, one person posted like, I reached 100,000 posts, and it took me 100,000 posts to get to like my 16,000 followers. But I'm like, this is like so manual. There's no skill in this. There's like a full-blown grind. You're like spending your entire life posting on Twitter. And it took me, for my 100,000 posts, it took me like, I don't know, 8 years, because I've been shit posting for a while. The thing is, like, it can be done in so much shorter time. And that is the mastery of positioning. You have to creatively think as to what the hell you're doing. Like, are you running a business, or are you just chasing dopamine? And a lot of people get sidetracked into chasing dopamine. And I can tell you one thing about Dan Koe. He started making small amounts of money, but started doing that day one, because there was a multi-skill approach. Direct response marketing, copywriting, landing page creation, audience building, audience borrowing. Like, he started making money at 500 followers. That's insane. The number of followers does not matter. What matters is getting your message in front of the people. And selling, you cannot be shy, you have to sell. But selling a product that has zero fulfillment, like for Black Friday, I made some sales. Those sales have been so much more valuable than the entire gross monthly income of my agency. Why? It just made me feel good. I was like, I sold my knowledge, there's like my own product, there's my own ideas that are being replicated in the world. And I'm like, it almost feels like it's too good to be true, but why is it possible? Because I'm operating entire business. Entire flow, from the impressions that are being generated on the front end to the value that's being provided to the user on the landing page, that they're opting in and getting emails that are providing them further value. There's a whole value cycle. And oftentimes I still get trapped in the thought process of like, is this a scam? Am I scamming people? And I look at the course that I've created. I spent good 45 days to write about 30,000 words of everything I know on the topic of the website creation or lead generation. There's two courses. But the website one that sold less, for whatever reason, it's just like my sales page probably sucks, or the topic of building websites is not as relevant anymore. People don't care about it as much as they do about, I don't know, becoming huge on social media for a good reason. Or I just didn't know how to make my website creation course more interesting, right? It should be interesting. I'm making a shit ton of fucking money on it. So you should go buy a course. I believe in it because it's making me my entire livelihood. That's why it's easy to sell for me. And I lost my train of thought now. I don't have a script. I'm not writing these out. I just sit down and I talk it out, right? But if you can see it, if you can connect the dots, right? And the beautiful part is, this is a messaging. The skills that you're learning when you're selling products online is, how do you position that value in front of the user that they believe you, like you, trust you enough to spend money on you? You know, the worst thing that can get is someone buys and they waste $50, $150, $200, $1,000. It's not life-changing loss. It's only loss for you if you deliver a shitty product. And what is a good product is highly subjective. So if your sales page is you just describing what they're getting on the other side of the paywall, you're ethically advertising something that could be life-changing for someone else. Like, I'm dying right now to buy some courses. I'm buying courses left and right. I'm not probably the best person to talk about this because I'm spending a fuck ton of money on courses. It's like I probably spent into self-education about $80,000 so far, and I don't regret a single penny of this because it accelerated my knowledge acquisition so quickly and rapidly that it got me very far. That I got, I'd say, 10x ROI on that so far. And that's like pretty admirable, like a pretty fast. Like buying knowledge at accelerated pace from trusted vendors is the path to go. You want to move faster. The time is the only thing that we never get back. And that's why courses are selling like crazy, because you are doing the job like of compiling the information to the student where they can get a fast-tracked concept of what took you years to learn. It took me years to conceptualize how to build websites profitably. To this day, I see my competitors building websites. They cannot make them profitably from the get-go. I put a lot of forethought. How to hire a designer, how to hire a developer, how to hire a project manager, how the copywriter and SEO work together to create copy for the website. How do they, like all this blends in, and how the QA process looks like. So that the end result ends up being a website that makes money. And I spent 15 years making these things, and I put a lot of thought throughout me building 500 of these as a team effort to get them to run. And that being sold for $150, right now I'm still selling it for $100. I think it's a steal. It's literally a steal. Like you can't have a university curriculum come and tell you how to build a website that's gonna print money. It has to connect the knowledge of SEO, of copywriting, of everything. And I'm selling you the idea, learn how to build your own fucking website. Don't buy my course, just build a website. It's how you build a business. Businesses are interconnected with websites as a connection point between the rest of the world and the company. People come together, and the business and the customer come together, and the website is a surface area where the magic happens. That's why it's like so critical. It's a polymathic skill. It's not just one person building a website. You could be that one person. You could do just 4% of the things, produce 64% of the results. You could do that. It's not impossible. But websites are, like, if they're done right, they need a whole team, you know, like Amazon.com is a website. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. You can build your own. It doesn't have to be Amazon. It doesn't have to be even e-commerce. It can be an informational website that's like printing you and gets you new customers on the daily. I have 8,000 to 10,000 visitors, unique monthly visitors, coming to seeing my name, seeing my company, and learning something from us because we're on the first page of Google, ranking #1. It's possible. And it's up to your creative imagination how you can get those visitors to accelerated trust you from the article. And 30% of the people on the internet do read. And the Googlers and the boomers that are Googling they still do read, and they have money, right? So the website, even in a small surface area, tiny surface area, if you learn how to capture the attention, you can totally make bank. Like in September alone, we signed $130,000 worth of new business from a handful of clicks on the mentioned website. That's why I think that courses a new form of education where you can actually learn from people that have done it themselves are going to completely obliterate traditional education. It's already happening. The only few educational groups that are going to remain within the confinements of the traditional education are going to be attorneys, doctors, and all those like white collar / like higher end jobs that do require state interference, that there's like standard of education being respected. But outside of that, like, what are you saying? That someone who's going to liberal arts school that's learning nothing tangible would be able to, liberal arts can be only taught on the internet. It's like digital liberal arts are the only liberal arts that remain in the game. There's no other way about it. Like, you can't go and learn something highly specialized. Specialization is killing your employment opportunities in 21st century. You cannot be a specialist on the internet. I mean, you could, but you're limiting your options. You're just only making what somebody else allows you to make within their confinement of their system. If you're a generalist, you can build your own systems. And that's game changing. And the only way you become a generalist in the new digital era is by either rapidly learning on your own with the AI, which is also possible, but sometimes just a simple context that the course provides is worth 10 times more than the course itself. I'm like buying them at accelerated pace. It always gives me a context, like, what is the arena, what is the game plan, and what is the game that I'm actually playing. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I was really pumped to share it, and till next time.